And call to order the council meeting of May 22nd, 2023. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Balestria.
Present.
Mr. DeJohn.
Excuse me, we've started the meeting.
Mr. Balestria.
Present.
Mr. DeJohn. Mr. Mano.
Here.
Mr. Monaco.
Here.
Mrs. Sabetta.
Here.
Mrs. Snyder. Mrs. Teresi.
Due to the absence of our council president and our council president pro tem, at this point, we would open the floor to nominations for a temporary chair for the evening.
I'd like to nominate Michael Balestria.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any other nominations? Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Mano.
Yes.
Mrs. Sabetta.
Yes.
Mr. Monaco.
Yes.
Mr. Balestria.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Please join me in a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would just like to, am I on? Can you hear me? Are we on? Okay. I would just like to start by saying, because we are 3 members deficient at tonight's council meeting, there will be no action taken on any of the legislation that's before us. We do need 5 members of council to suspend and to vote on any action, and because we don't have that amount of council members present, all the legislation will be placed on first reading. That doesn't mean you don't have an opportunity to speak if you'd like to speak this evening, but we will have limited discussion and no vote, just so everyone is aware of that. Okay? The first order of business is the approval of the minutes from our Committee of the Whole meeting of May 8th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So move.
Moved by Mr. Monaco.
I wasn't here.
Second.
I abstained.
Abstain.
Okay, the minutes cannot be approved, so we'll just put those on to the next meeting. And the next thing would be the approval of the minutes of the May 8th, 2023 council meeting, and I think we will have abstentions with those as well because council members were absent from that meeting, so we'll place those minutes on the agenda for the next meeting. Okay, the next order of business is correspondence and announcements. Do any members of council have any correspondence or announcements they'd like to speak on this evening? Mrs. Spada?
Thank you. The Chagrin River Watershed Partners had their quarterly meeting of directors on May 15th. The Mayfield Union Cemetery had their annual meeting on April 24th, and the budget was not approved. A walkthrough is to be held on June 12th at 1:30. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other correspondence or announcements from members of council? Okay. Seeing none, then we will turn to reports of officers. The mayor is absent. He's out of town this evening. We'll go to Director of Law, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no report this evening.
Any questions for Mr. Murphy? Okay. Director of Finance, Mrs. Fagan.
Thank you. I have no report this evening either.
Okay. Any questions for Mrs. Fagan? Okay. Just one reminder that the Memorial Day celebration will be held on Monday, 10 a.m. Here outside in the parking lot, just in the police department parking lot. I'm sure the mayor would want to announce that. Next, we'll turn to reports of committees, commissions, and boards, starting with the Building Committee, Mr. Monaco. And you report.
Thank you. We had no meetings, so at this point, I have no report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Monaco. Any questions for Mr. Monaco? Finance and Audit Committee, Mr. DeJohn is the chair. I am the member, and we have no report this evening. We do have one piece of legislation, but I guess we'll have to put that on first read as well. So, Legislative Committee, Mrs. Sabetta.
Thank you. I am in the process of putting together a meeting for the Legislative Committee. At this time, I have no report, but it will be concerning the naming rights. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Mrs. Sabetta? Public Works and Services Committee, that's my committee. I have no report this evening. The committee did not meet. Any questions for myself? Recreation and Parks, Mr. Mano.
I have a report. The Memorial Day remembrance will take place in the parking lot of the police station off Chelmsford at 10 a.m. on May 29th. Our speaker will be Tim Coffey. Jeremy King and some members of Story Church have agreed to adopt a spot in Mayfield Heights this summer. On Saturday, Jeremy and his crew were part of a group that planted a flower bed at the corner of Oakville and Mayfield Ridge Roads. A special thanks to Matt Maytek and Labella and Associates, who purchased the plants and mulch and helped plant, Karen Arnold, who selected the plants and produced the planting plan, Diane Snyder for her support of this project, and the Service Department for preparing the bed for planting this past weekend. Story Church will water, weed, and keep this corner of Oakville Park beautiful for all those who visit the area. Thank you all for your efforts to help beautify Mayfield Heights. Our Silver Shooters Bocce will begin on June 13th at 11:15. The $50 fee includes a light lunch. Pre-registration is required by calling 440-442-2627. And for more information on these activities and more, you can check the website at www.mayfieldheights.org or give us a call. There will be a Park and Rec meeting tomorrow evening here in these chambers, and that is open to the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mano. Any questions for Mr. Mano? Safety and Transportation Committee is Mrs. Tressi. She's not here. Who is the member for that?
I am the vice chair. On the agenda tonight, we have Resolution 2327, and it's a resolution regarding the intersection cameras and jail lobby cameras for use by the Mayfield Heights Police Department. And the chief is here to answer any question that you may have.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Monaco? Board of Zoning Appeals, Mrs. Sabetta.
Thank you. The BZA did meet on May 9th. As a result, there are several items on the agenda tonight. Council should have the meeting minutes, including a letter from the ABR. I encourage applicants to address council during the public portion of this meeting, knowing that you have been told it will be put on first reading. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sabetta. Any questions for Mrs. Sabetta? Next is the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission did not meet. That is my committee, and I have no report. Any questions regarding planning? Okay, seeing none, then we'll turn our attention to comments from the public. This is the public portion of the meeting pursuant to City Code. Each person will be allotted 5 minutes to speak, with a maximum of 30 minutes allotted for the entire public portion. If you are here in connection with an agenda item, even though we are not going to vote on an agenda item this evening, but you still would like to be heard and make your case, you have a right to do so and be heard. It's your opportunity to address the council. You'll also have that opportunity at the next meeting. Please don't note this is not an opportunity to debate with the council or use any slighted comments. If you'd like to be heard this evening and have not done so already, please fill out the form at the back table and bring it forward for me, and we'll call your name. During the public portion, I'll call each person wishing to be heard. Please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, and speak clearly into the microphone. It's now 7:15. I'll open the public portion. I only have one person right here that submitted, Mr. Chad Lichten. If you would like to approach and speak to council. Yeah, thank you.
I'll be more easygoing tonight on you guys.
Chad, state your name and
Chad Lichten, 6295 Fairhaven Road. I'm here about the light pollution across the street, and so I actually wrote some stuff down. I'm going to read it. Do you not agree that light is part of our physical world that our eyes render? Do you not agree that light travels? Do you not agree that a certain magnitude of light can hurt and damage one's eyes? Do you not agree that given today's technology, a person who might want to really bother their neighbor at night can do so with these incredibly bright lights that are available to them? Do you not agree that given the two different instances just in Mayfield Heights of neighbors bullying their neighbor at night with light, Beverly is here too. She's the other one I'm mentioning. Sorry. Should they not be dealt with for the health of the neighbor? Do you not agree that the ability to comfortably look out of one's window at night should not simply be the luck of the draw, who your neighbors are? As per the security argument, because I've heard a lot of these lights add real security to our homes. For that, I say, do you value those who are up at night, looking out of their window for activity, acting as neighborhood watch? Or do you more so value those who spill harsh lighting omnidirectionally, absolutely ruining the nighttime environment to those who live around them? I wish the mayor were here because I wanted to tell him I was watching the movie Jaws last night, and there's a mayor in that movie who doesn't want to believe that the problem of the shark attacks is actually a problem. He's only worried about the tourism in his city because that's what keeps that economy going in wherever it took place. And so I think it is a real danger, you know, and it does need to be addressed. And we shouldn't just pretend like we're living in a time when these lights don't exist and when people can't use them to truly bother their neighbor forever, because especially when they know it hurts and they get to just do that every night. Half of our life is blocking this, dealing with this, and yeah, it puts a damper on life. It puts a damper on the use of your property. And I know it's not a common occurrence for someone to do it out of malice, but it happens. And there should be protection against that sort of thing. That anyone should have to adjust their living situation so much because of a neighbor's malicious actions is just beyond me. Look, I didn't bring this to hurt anyone, but reflected light even at night, can be very bright. This is not that bright, but if you look into it, I'm going to turn it. It's very bright. This is an LED. I see people looking away. Do you guys want to look? It's not fun. It's not nice to look at. I'm sorry to hurt you. We deal with this for the last decade at night, and this is nothing. This is nothing. It's just a little studio light in my basement. The light we're looking at is the equivalent of 2,000 watts on an incandescent, and it's the visible bulb. The bulb, anyway, that's like, it'll blind you if you look at it. It's so dangerous, and it's there to hurt us. It's there simply because he doesn't like us, and he knows I'm sensitive to it. Because I asked nicely about his malfunctioning security lights years ago. So I guess I messed up. But I'm going to fight this. Someone here last time told me don't come anymore. They said, city council, they don't care, but I care. And I'm not here because I want to. I'm here because the neighbor sort of is making me. The neighbor's actions make me fight this. So it's not me, so to speak. It's the bully. I'm being bullied in our home. There's a lot we can't do because of that. And it's been a long time, and I just think something ought to be done.
Your time's up.
Yeah, we'll work together. We'll get something happening.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Next is it Joni Lichten?
Thank you. I'm Joni Lichten. I live at 6295 Fairhaven Road, Mayfield Heights. My question is about live chipmunk traps outside. Are they allowed? I just want to say someone told us the other day that there was a trap in our neighbor's yard big enough for a dog. I went to look. I didn't go in their backyard, but I did not see it. However, I did see 3, I guess you'd call them chipmunk traps. 2 in his driveway and 1 on the porch. They're set. I have to say there are stray cats all over. You never know if there's a dog. There are bunnies, wildlife and possums we get, and raccoons, let alone the 2 kids, young kids that live next door. They get curious, and just all the wildlife that comes around. I'm concerned for these animals and the kids. They could get terribly injured or tortured. Aren't these things supposed to be just in the home, like mice traps, or is this legal outside? Because, there's an infinite amount of animals that'll just keep coming by, and I think this person just wants to be mean to us. We have animals, and anyway, I don't know if you can answer now, or if you could just email me back that, is it legal to have these?
I'll have the billing director.
I'm sorry?
I'll have the billing director contact you with
Very good.
with any legalities.
Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to be heard tonight? Joe, do you have a report? You can give the report now. Go ahead. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Deborah.
Hi, my name is Deborah Kramer. I live at 1110 Belrose Road, and I just wanted to say that I'm here again because I want to continue to encourage the city to come with a comprehensive plan for solar panels. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cuny?
Thank you. Just a quick report from the engineering department. Last council meeting, you approved the 2023 resurfacing program to Perk Company, and we have our pre-construction meeting tomorrow. We'll get the schedule from him. I'm anticipating he'll start next week. Second, I had a meeting with Mr. Brunello and I at ODOT today to talk about Mayfield Road and some of the issues we're having with the concrete out there. I'll give a report to the mayor and council about it. It wasn't very encouraging, but they are aware of the problem, and we'll continue to stay on them. And he gave me some ideas for funding and stuff like that because ODOT's not coming back for a few years. But they are having issues. He named other roads, Lake County, I-90 in Lake County, 237 in Cleveland. There are other concrete roads that have the same problems. Didn't make us feel any better because it doesn't help us with our problem. But they hurt us, you know. We got an audience with them, so we'll stay on them about that. We are cleaning up the road programs from last year. I believe Woodhuck is about done now. Iroquois, Sunset, and Elmwood are all done. And road program D, which is the repair of Mayfield Road, the joints and the slabs is also completed. So,
Okay, great.
end of report.
Thank you, Joe. Kathy Telbin?
No. Evening. Kathy Talbin, 6470 Gates Mills Boulevard. As I was I'm here to talk about cell phone access. I don't know if it's a problem around the city, but I have discovered that it is definitely a problem in my neighborhood, specifically Kingswood, which is right next to my house as well as my house. I was blaming AT&T because I didn't have good cell phone service and was considering changing my mobile service until I start walking Kingswood and to get my petitions. And they were telling me, well, I wish we could do something about cell phone service. I said, what do you mean by that? And they told me, and I said, I'm having the same problem. Just walking down the street, being outside, it's one thing to be in your house and you've got a dead zone, which I know I personally have because of how the house is constructed. But never have I ever been able to walk down a street and all of a sudden get a dead zone or be told that somebody can't hear me. And as I continued to walk, a lot of other people on that street told me, and they work out of their home, that they can't get service sometimes in their own home or when they are walking outside. I did bring it up to Diane Schneider last Thursday when I saw her. I said, I don't know how to, if the city has anything to do with towers or whatever. She said she'd look into it, but I figured I'd just bring that up here because I was surprised. I really thought it was just the fact that I have AT&T. But now that I realize it's broader than that, I just want to bring it to your attention just in case anybody else is having problems who is here or even watching, that if they are, they should probably speak up because maybe it's bigger than just my neighborhood.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard tonight?
You would like to?
Joe? Yeah, go ahead.
To respond to that real quick. It is a definite problem in Gates Mills, which is very close to you there. And Gilmore Academy has that problem. They've been asking for it for years. They think it's a safety issue because the coaches who have an injury on the field can't even call the trainer because they can't get cell service. Gilmore is in the process of putting up a cell tower. The pole is ordered. It'll be here in August. Verizon is going on that pole to start, and they anticipate the other carriers will also be on there. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take Verizon to get on the pole. Gilmore's putting it up themselves and then leasing the space. Verizon is the first one going on. So I think you will get some relief in that area. All of Gates Mills in that area is a real big problem. The mayor of Gates Mills lives on Dorchester, which is the road next to Gilmore, and she can't get service. So you're not alone. And I don't think the city has anything to do with it. I mean, a lot of times the carriers have to put up the towers and get the easements or get the land. Gilmore is taking it on themselves to do that. They're going to put up the tower, and you should see some relief, hopefully within a year. So. I don't know how long Verizon will take, but the pole will be up and on.
Thanks for the update, Joe. It's good to know. I know our carriers are on our poles, but the city has really nothing to do with how they provide that service from that point on. So that's good to know. Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Okay, it's 7:28. I'll close the public portion. And we'll turn our attention to resolutions. I'll still have Mr. Murphy read each resolution into the record, starting with 2023-47, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution 2023-47, a resolution confirming the action of the Board of Zoning Appeals of the City of Mayfield Heights in granting to Jason Bocall and Alexander Bocall, 13170 Iroquois Avenue, a variance to construct a covered porch on the rear of the house closer than 10 feet to the garage, Cuyahoga County Permanent Parcel Number 861-02-026, first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. We'll place this on first reading since we don't have enough council members to suspend the rules. Next is Resolution 2023-48, and Mr. Murphy.
Resolution 2023-48, a resolution confirming the action of the Board of Zoning Appeals of the City of Mayfield Heights in granting to Jerome Terrence on behalf of Antonio and Monique Steele, 1358 Washington Boulevard, a variance to construct a detached garage in the rear yard 11 feet from the house, Cuyahoga County Permanent Parcel Number 861-14-076, first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. For the same reasons, we'll place this on first read. Resolution 2023-49, Mr. Murphy.
Resolution 2023-49, a resolution confirming the action of the Board of Zoning Appeals of the City of Mayfield Heights in granting to Dan Buttry, Verizon Global Real Estate, on behalf of Verizon and First Mainland Properties, 5870 Mayfield Road, a variance to increase the maximum number of parking spaces on the property from 15 to 39. Cuyahoga County Permanent Parcel Number 861-28-046, first reading.
Thank you. That resolution will be placed on first read. Resolution 2023-50, Mr. Murphy.
Resolution 2023-50, a resolution confirming the action of the Board of Zoning Appeals of the City of Mayfield Heights in granting to Dan Buttry, Verizon Global Real Estate, on behalf of Verizon and First Mainland Properties, 5870 Mayfield Road, a variance to exceed the maximum allowable parking lot width by 8.35 feet. Cuyahoga County Permanent Parcel Number 861-28-046, first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Place that on first read as well. Next is Resolution 2023-51, Mr. Murphy.
Resolution 2023-51, a resolution reversing the action of the Board of Zoning Appeals of the City of Mayfield Heights in granting to Quing Wee Wee Juicy Seafood on behalf of Cosmo Eastgate Limited, 1479 Som Center Road, a variance to install 140 square feet of W1 signage on the front wall of the building. Cuyahoga County Permanent Parcel Number 862-29-018, and denying said variance. First reading.
The resolution is placed on first read. Resolution 2023-52, Mr. Murphy.
Resolution 2023-52, a resolution confirming the action of the Board of Zoning Appeals of the City of Mayfield Heights in granting to Wing Wee Wee Juicy Seafood on behalf of Cosmo Eastgate Limited, 1479 Som Center Road, a variance to install 140 square feet of W1 signage on the front wall of the building, Cuyahoga County Permanent Parcel Number 862-29-018. First reading.
Thank you. That's also placed on first read. Resolution 2023-53, Mr. Murphy.
Resolution 2023-53, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Stryker Medical for the purchase of 2 automated external defibrillators for use at the Mayfield Heights Aquatic and Community Center and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Thank you. We'll place that on first read. Mr. Murphy with Resolution 2023-54.
Resolution 2023-54, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Uline for the purchase of 9 bike racks for use at the Mayfield Heights Aquatic and Community Center and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Thank you. That's also on first read. Next resolution is 2023-55. Mr. Murphy.
Resolution 2023-55, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Watchfire Signs, LLC, for for the purchase of a digital ground sign for use at the Mayfield Heights Aquatic and Community Center and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Okay, placed on first read. Resolution 2023-56. Mr. Murphy.
Resolution 2023-56, a resolution authorizing and approving change management number 051-C to the agreement with the Albert M. Higley Company for the construction of the Mayfield Heights Aquatic Center and the Community Center and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Placed on first read. And the final resolution, 2023-57. Mr. Murphy.
Resolution number 2023-57, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with I2C Technologies for the purchase of intersection cameras and jail lobby cameras for use by the Mayfield Heights Police Department and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Placed on first read. We also have one ordinance on the agenda this evening. Mr. Murphy, ordinance number 223-14 for the read.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ordinance number 2023-14, an ordinance amending the original appropriations ordinance number 2022-28 for the current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Mayfield Heights, State of Ohio, of the fiscal year ending December 31, 2023, as previously amended by ordinance number 2023-06, specifically the transfer and supplemental appropriations of funds in various accounts, and declaring an emergency. First reading.
We'll place that on first read as well. Just so everyone knows, you can see we had a lot of legislation on the agenda tonight, a lot of BZA matters. I'm going to try to get council, at least 5 members of council, sometime this week for a special meeting where we can enact on this legislation. Where we'll have 5 members of council. 2 members are away for the entire week. So if we can get 5 members of council here this week, we can take care of this legislation and get it off the books. There are no motions on the agenda this evening. Does any member of council have any new business or additional comments? That concludes our agenda. So without any further business, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Sabetta, second by Mr. Mano. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. We are now in adjournment.